Well, the unthinkable happened. My home theater PC blew up. And yeah, so there's that. Now the arduous task of trying to find out what went wrong with said home theater PC. Let's check the power supply. Make sure it's actually plugged in. I'm going to unplug it for a couple seconds. Plug it back in again. See what happens. Nothing. Power switch. Nothing. Oh, I heard. It sounded like a. No, nothing. It's dead, Jim. I'm going to run some very basic tests. I don't have my power supply tester here. Unfortunately, I left it at work. And I never seem to think to bring it home. I just found out it was dead yesterday, and I had all the opportunity in the world to grab my power supply tester, but I don't really need it anyway. There's no need for that. And you have a good old-fashioned paper clip. Although you won't get the load test, you can still check all the individual voltages. So you can get the power supply to turn on. So here's the power supply. Ooh, this thing's getting dusty. I still haven't replaced that freaking CPU heatsink retainer. I just haven't gotten a chance to order one. I mean, I have had every opportunity in the world, but I just never did. So it's being held in by heatsink grease, and has been for quite some time. I've actually neglected this machine more than any other computer I've ever owned. I guess I'm at that point in my life where I just don't give a damn. I haven't cleaned it in over a year, maybe longer. So we're just going to unplug the power supply connector, the main connector here. When I was a kid, hell, I'd spend my whole life just modifying and tweaking my computer hardware. But now that I'm 31, I just don't care. I work on computers all day long. That's why you don't see very many computer videos on my channel, because, well, number one, there isn't much that I could contribute to the community that you haven't already seen. But secondly, I do it all day long for work, so I want to do something different on my channel. I got to find a power cord. Okay, we've got our paper clip. Now we're going to short out green to ground. It could be any ground connector. We'll try a few and see what happens, but I'm not holding my breath. Ooh. Wait a minute. It turns on, it provides power for just a second or two. I don't know if you can see those fans. Yeah, you can. Okay, good. See, that's all it does. So this power supply is junk. But not necessarily now. You want to make sure it's junk. So what we're going to do is we're going to unplug all the loads. You could have a short somewhere. You never know. We got to unplug all the loads anyway, so might as well do it now. Unplug all the fans. I mean, it's not uncommon. I mean, you could have a short somewhere on the board. You could have one on the, well, we still have the auxiliary power connected, so. Could be a bad hard drive. I've seen that too. I have seen a hard drive cause a machine not to start up. I've been doing computer repairs since I was in 6th grade. I've been doing it that long. But I'm not one of those advanced hardware nerds either. I don't really, I'm not a specification geek. You know, I'm not a gamer. I have the body of a gamer, but I'm not a gamer. A little overweight, okay, fine. What else? But yeah, I don't really get into the. I don't really geek out over, you know, the latest and greatest of hardware. Mainly because I could never really afford it growing up, so it never really, you know, never really affected me. Whatever was coming out, the latest and greatest of trends. So I could never afford to worry about all that shit, you know. Now I can, but I've become apathetic to it all. It's kind of funny how that works out. Alright, so we've taken off all the loads. There's nothing connected to this power supply. Let's try it again. I put the fan there so you can see the camera there so you can see if the fan spins up. And we're going to do it. If I could get the power supply to remain on, I would then take my multimeter and I would check every output to make sure that they're doing their job with the multimeter. And I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point anyway. I'm not going to fix this power supply, so I don't. Doesn't really. Yeah, see, she's done. All done. Blown up, blown apart. Haha. Napoleon blown apart. That's what we got here. Bad news bears. All right. Let's get the sucker out of here. You've done your job. You're done. I was just at a friend's house for dinner, and because when you turn 31, that's all you visit your friends for. You just hang out, have a few beers, eat dinner, talk about kids today and their Xboxes and their iPods. Just kidding. And I'm not that old, but no, that's pretty much what it turns into. You know, he's got a screaming kid in the background, that kind of thing. Alright, so out she goes. This power supply has done quite well. I mean, this machine stays on 24/7, and it has done so for 3 or 4 years now. So you got to think, I mean, this sucker's got some hours on it, you know. I mean, it's not like it was, you know, used once or twice a week for email, you know. This thing never gets shut off, and it's gone through many power outages, many power spikes. It's a Zigmatech. I've never even heard of that brand, Zigmatech. Anyway, I was at my friend's house having dinner, listening to a screaming kid. And I asked him, hey, you got an extra power supply kicking around? Because I don't. And he says, why, yes, I do. He actually happened to have in his basement a brand new in-box Antec 80 plus bronze. Ooh, what is that, 80% efficiency or something like that? 88% max efficiency. And it's an Earth Watch model, so it's designed to be green with envy, I guess. What was the wattage on my old one? Let's see. Max output current, max output. It was 400 watts. I wasn't using near that. I'm using an integrated video card, so I'm not using doing anything crazy with this machine, so. But he happened to have one that he bought for a project that he never did. He never completed, so I'm like, I'll buy it off you. That reminds me, I owe him some money. But it's nice to have friends who are also computer dorks, like yourself. I mean, I used to be more of a computer nerd than I am today. But to put it into perspective, that was back when computer magazines were all the rage. And some kids have, Playgirl and Hustler magazines. I had PC World and not seriously, but they were fun to read. Look at all the stuff that I didn't have money for. That's funny, as an adult, I do now, and I own a MacBook. Anyway. So I'm going to throw out all the manuals and warranties. I don't really give crap about those. This power supply, by the way, probably weighs twice what that other one did. Weight comparison is, actually no, they're about the same. I'm weighing them off camera with my hands. I don't know if you can see that. Just kidding. But no, they don't weigh the same. They're actually quite different. But they very similar in size. This one doesn't have one of those mega ginormous fans on top. Just a standard old cooling fan. Very basic, very Spartan. 20 watts less, but a much better quality unit. At that much, I mean, we're talking an Antec, not a xylophone or a Zingawatt or whatever the hell that thing was. It came with a PC, so I didn't complain about it. Alright. So this one is painted an unusual shade of forest green. It reminds me of those forest green Volvo station wagons that were all the rage back in the 90s. Anyway. So, now it's this sucker up. One of these days I'll get around to ordering a new CPU retainer, but I hope by that point I'll be ready to put a new motherboard in this sucker. A nice little Intel i7. Not that there's anything wrong with the AMD. This is a Phenom quad core. Nice little machine. What the f... Oh, idiot. Screwing it in wrong. There we go. But yeah, the Antec power supplies I've historically had great luck with. I use those at work. Whenever a power supply goes down on one of our desktops, I buy the whatever the mid-grade Antec happens to be at the time. And it's never actually steered me wrong. If you guys are old enough to remember the, I think around the turn of the century, shortly thereafter, right around the time before capacitor gate hit the tech world, there was a company called Deere. At least that's what the brand name was. And they were selling very inexpensive cases, I believe under the name of Apex. And they were selling these really cheap cases with these really cheap power supplies that were guaranteed to fail. Right on the box, guaranteed to fail. Well, they didn't actually write that, but they might as well have. Because they were guaranteed to fail. The company that supplied the equipment to my school district back then, when I was a student, the company was using those cases and power supplies for all of our equipment. So you'd be in like math class, and then you'd hear a loud bang, and smoke would be pouring out the back of the computer. It was like a regular occurrence. I mean, it happened all the time. And those power supplies were just, they were garbage. They were garbage. But, again, what was garbage then is considered high quality now. I mean, that was a time when the power supply was usually the last thing to go on a computer. It was like, it just didn't happen. Power supplies failing, come on. That only happens in movies. But no, back then, power supplies were, even the cheap Taiwanese ones, were pretty well made. I mean, you couldn't really get a bad one. You could if you tried. Alright, so I got the 4-pin header connector. And I got one socket for that goes down. I'm going to try to make this look neat. Or not. I don't care anymore. Shh, don't tell anybody. Alright. I need 2, 3. I need 3. SATA power connectors. Yeah. my 6-pin connector. I don't believe this board supports that. No, it doesn't. Okay. Alright, I need my one. I've got a 1, 2, and 3 connector. That'll go to my drive tray. See if it'll serve all the drives. I think it will. Then, ooh, actually no, the way they're spaced out, unfortunately, I'm going to have to run a separate one to the CD-ROM drive. That sucks. But just tuck that connector there, like that. And we're going to need, I'll take this third one, I'll run that to the CD-ROM drive. Like a shoal. Almost like it was meant for this case. And I'm just going to tuck that in there and get it out of the way. This case has 2 drive bays that are actually, yeah, they're right here. And they'll fit 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch drives. And but what's interesting is they're not rubber mounted. These two, oh shit, sorry. These 2 drive bays are actually rubber mounted. I'm not sure what good that does. I mean, because it's cheap rubber, it's not really well engineered, but it does the job. Alright. And then we need to run power to a couple of 4-pin Molex connectors. And that should be easy enough. I've got my little display on the front, which I cover with black tape because it's... Now, this I'm going to start a rant now, alright? Be prepared for this one. Blue LEDs. Why? Whose idea was it to put blue LEDs as soon as they were, like, invented? It seems like right after blue LEDs were discovered or invented or whatever, everybody started using them. And they're still, it's like a fad that just won't go away. Everything is blue. Did you know that blue is one of the hardest colors to see at night? It's one of the when it's illuminated, it's one of the most difficult colors for the human eye to process. That's why most auto manufacturers weren't using blue backlighting on their dashboards. Blue and red are the most difficult for the eye to process. I read that somewhere when I was much younger, and I never forgot it. So was that it? I got the, yep, I got that. I got that. I don't have anything that uses the mini connector, so we don't need to worry about that. I'm going to just tuck these wires in here, like so. And neaten that up a little bit. I'll just get that all tucked in there. And I'm going to take one of these and zip it up. See how that works when I fold it all up. Hopefully it doesn't cause any catastrophes. There we go. It's about 1100 degrees right now outside. Actually in my house. I've been gone all day, so I never had a chance to open the windows. And I left all my windows closed because I thought it was going to storm. I don't know why I thought that, but there we go. There we go. One power supply replacement coming up. Being done. Now just make sure that all closes down without pinching anything. These cases are sometimes quite difficult to work on because once everything is closed, you don't really always know how things are going to slam together once you close them up. So it's kind of hard to prepare for that. Huh? There we go. And we'll take our SATA connector for the optical drive, put that there, and bada bing, bada boom. Try to do a better job of tucking the SATA wires for the drives. Yeah, it's kind of messy. I gave up on trying to clean this up when I first built it. Because mostly I just didn't care. You notice a theme here? Yeah, but no, I'm like, you know what, screw that. Nobody cares. I don't care. Alright, now we'll screw the drive bay down and we'll give it a power test. And I'm going to do the unthinkable, which is something I'll admittedly do all the time. I just shut the sucker off. When I don't want to see the light anymore, I just like hold the power button down. I don't even bother switching to video mode or the HDMI PC video mode on my TV to do the shutdown. I just shut it off. It doesn't kill it, make it stronger. Like I said, I started neglecting my machines recently. We have liftoff. Diagnostic LEDs, everything looks good. Although I don't know what the chart is to read them, I should look it up. I think it's good to go. Alright. Alright, we'll have to put video to it. So I owe my buddy a couple bucks for a power supply, but I'm just glad he had one, and I didn't have to wait for shipping. Okay, we need to set all of our inputs. There it is. And there it is. I think it's this one. Oh, shit. Oh, that's not it. HDMI 1. What did I turn the TV off for? Oh. This is a plasma TV that I bought about 4 or 5 years ago. Still works great. Is it PC? Let's try that one. Here we go. See if she posts. I could have the wrong input too. Yeah, I think I do. There we go. Ah, she's posting. And start normally. Oh, my keyboard's shut off. Probably turn that on. No, the battery's dying. Alright then. Here we go. Everything is dying. What the hell? I actually have 2 wireless keyboards. This is the one that I use for the television when I'm watching movies. And this one I use while I'm cooking. Dual command, baby. Both using, by the way, the same Logitech unifying receiver. I think we're good to go. I haven't decided as to whether I'm going to do the Windows 10 upgrade or not, but I'm leaning towards not. I'm just fine with Windows 7. But I do want to use, I actually do want to do a full machine backup. I'll make an image of the drive and then probably do the Windows 10 upgrade. Might as well do it now. Let's see if the media center indicator thingy driver. Once the driver starts, which it's doing now, that should start displaying stuff. Give it a minute. Device and port searching. Found it. Oh, there it goes. It's changing over. Let's see what she does. There it goes. Cool. So, yeah, I I have it set right now to display CPU usage, swap file size, and memory usage. Cool. I think we're good to go. Now I can use my Plex app on my phone and watch movies while I do laundry tonight, or tomorrow night at the laundromat. Cool. Alright then. So while we're here, let's talk about this Sony home theater system. This was one of my first purchases when I got my first apartment. I was, what was I? I was 20 or 21. No, my second apartment. My first apartment by myself. When I first moved out of my parents' house, I moved in with my cousin. We actually went in half on a rental condo. And we primarily used his home theater system because he had one, so I didn't have to buy one. And then when I when I rented my first apartment, my only apartment that I ever rented by myself, the one and only, because I own this place, bought it when I was 23. But, where was I? When I was 21, I went out to Walmart, 12 o'clock at night. I was working swing shifts at the time. And it was, I think I had just gotten off for the day. Or was it the next day? I think it was on a Saturday. And, because when you work swing shifts at night, 12-hour shifts, you kind of have a lot of free time on your hands at night when you're not working, because all your friends are sleeping like everybody else should be. So I went down to my local Walmart and I picked up a home theater in a box. Now this thing came in a box that was like the size of my car. And it had this unit, it had a 5-disc DVD changer, subwoofer, and 4 satellite speakers, all in one big-ass box. And it was huge and heavy. At the time, I was driving an 1887 Nissan Pathfinder. It was a 2-door model. And I had all I could do to get that sucker in the back of that vehicle. It was huge and heavy, and no one was there to help because it was late at night. So I had to steal one of those U-boat carts that Walmart has lying around the store that customers are not allowed to use. I kind of lifted one and threw the box on there and paid for it. It cost me $400. I think it was like $488. It was a lot of money to me at the time. But I was making pretty good money, so I didn't care. I'm like, eh. But you know what? That was in 2004, and it still works to this day. So, no, 2005. I was 21. Yeah, 2005. It still runs to this very day. Can't believe it. But it's growing to be obsolete. I mean, I can't really use this much longer because all of my stuff requires HDMI except for my VCR and my cable box. And I'd like it to have switchable HDMI ports so I could switch from the PC without having to connect directly to the television. You know, the TV has 2 HDMI ports in the back. So I've got one going to the Blu-ray player, one to this, and I have to keep switching from one device to the other. It's kind of a pain in the ass. But I'm thinking of replacing it with an inexpensive Denon receiver, and because I looked at a few and it had all the features I need. But anyway, I just thought I'd talk about that because we're here and you're all watching, and I'm getting ready to go to bed. So yeah, my PC works great. Good. Okay, just for fun, let's take this one apart. I'm kind of curious. I wonder if it's anything obvious, like a burst capacitor or something crazy. Warranty void if removed. I think we're a little past that now. Anyway. And I find out it's some boutique brand. Has a lifetime warranty and was hand wired in like a shop somewhere in Okinawa, Japan, or some crazy offbeat place where only the finest power supply makers live, and they drink tea and talk about the word of, I don't know, Confucius. I'm not a scholar. In case you didn't know. I think I just proved it right there and there. Alright. I don't think I have to remove the fan. Get the cover off, do I? Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see that, can you? Alright, let's try to make this more visible. I didn't want to screw the fan. I didn't think I had to. I have repaired a few power supplies over the years, but they were just obvious things, you know. I replaced a lot of fans. I throw out a good power supply when all it needs is a fan. Okay. Yes, that's actually what I had to do. Apparently. Okay. Now this is a big fan. It is a cheapo fan. A Young Lin. I'll show you in a sec here. It's not like an NMB or something high quality, or a Delta, an NMB, or Pabst. No, this is a Young Lin. Okay then. Yeah. Look at that. It's like nothing to it, man. Anything obvious? Any burn marks? 'Cause I'm not going to whip out my multimeter and start testing shit because, well, I think we've established the fact that I just don't care that much about this machine. I don't. Looks like there's a thermal sensor on this heatsink. That's cool. That must be what triggers the top fan to run at varying speeds. We know their fuse isn't blown because it does actually supply a small amount of power for a small amount of time. But it could be something like a bad transistor. It is a switching power supply, so there's a lot that can go wrong in these. If they still used linear power supplies on PCs, they'd weigh 50 pounds. Just the power supply. More than likely. So it's probably something ridiculous like a bad transistor. I actually found a tutorial that that describes exactly how a switch mode power supply works. Actually, yeah, so some information out there. You can actually, it's very interesting how they work. Oh wow, this came with a $100 wine voucher. He bought it on Newegg. Used within 30 days of receipt. When did he buy it? 1/2/15. So this power supply is only a few months old. So 7 months old. Cool. Very cool. I will save that. And I'll throw away the rest. As for this fan, it does work. Maybe I'll find a use for it. Who knows? I'll use it for something. Throw this away.